Hey everybody, how you doing? Mark here. Out for a very long extended ride to work. I left almost 2 hours early. And I'm doing that because the other day it was my mom's birthday. So I'm going to go into Clinton and wish her a happy birthday, give her a hug and a kiss, and spend a little time with her and Dad before I have to actually go into work. Of course, I'm going to take a longer route to get to Clinton, but that's due to my own discretion. But I do have a story about my mom and my first motorcycle that I ever owned. So I thought, because it was her birthday and I'm going to go see her, I'll actually tell you guys that story. Now this was back in, gosh, what was it? 89, 90, somewhere around there. And this is back when the crotch rocket street bikes were becoming really big and popular. And I had bought a Suzuki Katana. I think it was is it a 600 or a 650? I don't remember off the top of my head. It was so long ago. And just waiting for traffic to clear here, guys. And I had bought it used. I got a pretty good deal on it. So I brought it home, and my mom took one look at it, and she had heard stories about how people ride these bikes, and I don't know if she thought that I was going to ride like that or what, but yeah, even up to my first bike I had ever owned, I have been a very, very careful rider. And turn here, I think. So yeah, I think she was just nervous that I was going to be driving it like she was hearing about these crazy people, doing excessive speeds and wheelies and, just all this other stuff on these type of bikes. Where my thought was, I thought she was going to be okay with it because my dad had a big Goldwing at the time, so it's not like motorcycles were new to her. But yeah, she just did not like me having it. And there was one day I was actually coming home from work. I was working at the Beloit Memorial Hospital at the time. And I was working the third shift. I was doing security there. And I was only on my learner's permit. I hadn't gotten my full license yet. I could ride by myself during the course of a day, during sunlight, but I wasn't supposed to drive at night. That was the rule back then. I don't know if it still is or not. Anyway, I was coming home, and it was about, what was it, like 6 o'clock in the morning. And it was autumn time, so it had not gotten light out yet. It was still pretty dark. But I take back roads home, I don't drive on major roadways. So I thought I was going to be okay. Well, as I was driving through Beloit, I drove past a cop. I wasn't speeding or anything. I was just riding along. And the cop started following me. And he followed me for miles. I think he followed me for a good 5 miles. I was outside of Beloit. I don't even remember if he was a Beloit cop or if he was a county sheriff or what. But he ended up pulling me over just maybe like 3-4 miles from my house. I was out in the country, and of course asked to see my license and everything. He gave me this big old hoopla about how they had been chasing a bike matching my bike's description all night long. Apparently there was some other white and red Katana that was all over town just raising hell, and the cops just couldn't catch them. And so of course he wanted to know where I was and stuff. It's like, well, I do security at the Beloit hospital, blah blah, giving him my alibis, basically saying, hey, it wasn't me, I've been at work all night long. Well, of course then he runs my plates and my license, knows that I've only got a learner's permit. He goes, you're not supposed to be out right now, right? Like, yeah, I know. He goes, well, I won't write you a ticket, but you cannot ride home on the bike. So he ended up actually giving me a ride to my house. And oh my God, my mom sees me get out of this police car, out of the back seat, and brings, walks me up and everything like that. Remember, I'm like 19 at the time. I'm an adult. And my mom comes running out, wondering what's wrong, and it's like, it's nothing, Mom. It's just... So anyway, then I had to sit there and sit at the house, wait for it to get light out so I could have my parents drive me a few miles out of town just so I can pick up my motorcycle that was left on the side of the road. Oh, yeah, but my mom, she was just all up in arms just because a cop brought me home because I technically was riding illegally. So yeah, that's one story. So yeah, my mom was very worried about me having this bike, and I didn't have it very long. I only had it for maybe, I think, 6 months. I ended up deciding to get rid of it just because she was so nervous about me on this bike. Well, ended up being, I had an older, I think he's like a second cousin, third cousin, something like that. He's related to somebody that is related to the family through, someone else, But he wanted a crotch rocket motorcycle because all his friends had one. So he bought my motorcycle off of me. And I think it was probably less than a month later, my mom comes into my room. I'm sleeping. I'm working third shifts, right? So I'm sleeping during the day. My mom comes in, wakes me up, and tells me that second or third cousin had gotten into a motorcycle accident and died. Well, of course, now I can't sleep. I was like, oh my God, I sold this guy a death machine. Well, come to find out that him and his friends that had these big crotch rocket bikes, all his friends had like 1,000 cc bikes, where this one was a 600. And he wanted to try one of their larger bikes. And they were out at Black Hawk Tech screwing around in the parking lot. They weren't out on the roadway, at least there was that. But he had no safety gear on, no helmet, nothing like that. And he was on this bigger, more powerful, faster bike, and he lost control of it, hit some gravel on the side of the parking lot, went down into a ditch, and smashed his head on a rock. Yep. So he was DOA when the paramedics got there. But I did find a little relief knowing that he did not die on the bike I sold him. So yeah, that has been a story of my mom with the first bike I ever owned, you know, that I actually purchased, not my little dirt bikes and stuff like that they had bought me when I was a kid. Only had it for 6 months. Oh, there's another deer. Only had it for 6 months, sold it, and then that guy died within a month because of a motorcycle accident. So, happy birthday, Mom! Yeah, I mean, it's not a great story, it's really not, but, you know, it's one of those things that keeps flashing up in my head. You know, I'm on a much bigger bike now, much more power, but my mom seems to be fine with it. Like I said, I think she was just more nervous because she didn't know the way I ride. You know, she always heard stories about how people act on these bikes and hooning around and doing illegal stuff and, you know, excessive speedings and stuff like that, and she thought I was doing that, but I wasn't. Well, that's my story for today, guys. So always believe heart, soul, mind, and body in yourself. Bye, guys.